Everything started out fun and carefree. On Wednesday, July 22nd, Vladislav Rogovic had company at his dacha. His girlfriend of 18 years, Anya Bondareva, was among them. The young people were partying until late at night. Afterwards all went to bed. All except Anya. From 3 to 5 in the morning she left the house and disappeared. Hello, this is Defunct City. Subscribe to our channel. And we go on. Anya Bondareva studied at the journalism department. Her father is a deputy. Her family is well-to-do. Her friends are very decent. But on the night of July 21st to 22nd, 2015, the girl disappeared without a trace. She and her friends were on vacation in the countryside. They partied late into the night. Then they all went to bed. According to her friend Vlad Rogovic, Anna didn't feel well and went out for some fresh air. And he went to the second floor of the cottage to join his other friends. In the morning she was not found. No one could remember the last time they saw her, and at what point she left the house. The friends tried to find her on their own. They searched the entire countryside, but Anya was long gone. The last time we talked to my daughter was on the 21st of July. She said she was going to the cottage with the girls, and with Vlad Rogovic, as we thought at that time she broke up, said Anya's father Ilya Bondarev. In the afternoon of July 22nd, we could not get her on the phone, but in the evening her friend Olga came to us and said that Anya hadn't disappeared. We found out from her that not only the girls were at the dacha, but also some young people, including Vlad. We immediately went there. The family called the police and volunteers. The security forces plus hundreds of volunteers searched for the girl for days. All versions were checked. Accidents, kidnappings, runaways. But her relationship with her parents was good. Neither were her studies, no money problems, and no calls from possible kidnappers. As a result, on July 27th, the Regional Investigative Committee opened a criminal case. The parents were openly told to brace yourselves. Most likely, your daughter is already dead. Volunteers found the body in the evening of July 28, just a kilometer away from the dacha area. Anya Bondareva was 18 years old. Her young man Vladislav Rogovic was arrested for the murder of Anya Bondareva. The investigation lasted only 3 months, but during that time a lot of secrets came to light. In particular, it turned out that Rogovic was quite betting on sports and constantly losing a lot of money, borrowing from friends and acquaintances, and was always in debt to someone. Anna loved him and believed she could set him on the right path. She gave him money, expensive gadgets. He sold everything and spent the money down the drain. Her parents understood that the bad boy was just using Anna and could hurt her. They tried to persuade her to give up. They even forbade them to communicate, but to no avail. The girl wouldn't listen to anyone and said that Vlad just needed help and that everyone had abandoned him. Anya and I were always close. She told me everything. But when Vlad came, everything changed, said the girl's mother, Yelena Bondareva. In the spring she said that Vlad was in the hospital. And in fact, as we found out later, they went to St. Petersburg together. After that they seemed to have broken up. But in June we saw him again at our house. The girl's father Ilya Bondarev had a serious talk with Vlad. He seemed to promise that he would never hurt Anya, that he really loved her. He would give her all the money he borrowed from her. He even wrote a receipt for 130,000 rubles. When Anya disappeared, Vlad seemed genuinely worried, actively participated in the search. But it was all a sham. The guys who participated in the search for Anya didn't much believe what he was saying. And Vlad stayed close to us most of the time. His wife took pity on him, fed him sausages. When they found Anya, he was hysterical, eating dirt, saying why wasn't he killed. Ilya Bondarev recalls. And then the investigation found a surveillance tape, which showed a girl and a young man walking together early in the morning away from the dacha. A little time passes, and the young man walks back, alone. This young man was Vlad Rogovic, the missing girl Anya Bondareva. The suspect pleaded guilty. He even wrote a confession. The Bondarev's family was outraged. He confessed only when everything was already clear. Where is the sincere remorse here? Meanwhile, it was Rodovic's confession that put everything in its place. The experts could not say with certainty how Anne had died. Rogovic said that he had strangled her. The repeated examination confirmed that this might have been. At the trial in December of 2015, Rogovic said that night he and Anne had argued. They went for a walk, but continued fighting. The girl said she didn't love him. He threatened that he would kill her for saying that. According to Rogovic's version, Anne herself turned off the path, lay down on the ground, and told him to kill her to prove that he was a man. He strangled the girl and threw branches over her body. He washed his hands in the lake that was nearby. He didn't try very hard to hide the corpse, so it's strange that it was a week before he was discovered. He and the volunteers had walked by this place more than once. That's not exactly how it happened. That's not what he said at the inquest. First he made Anya take off her diamond ring. Then he started to strangle her with his hands. Then he took a stick and strangled her. The stick broke. He took another thicker one, piled his whole body on top of it, and pressed down on Anya's throat. So blood came out of her mouth and nose, says Ilya Bendorev. Anya was very fond of life. She would never say kill me. In addition, the examination found bruises on her body, so she wasn't just lying on the ground. I think Vlad's testimony in court is complete nonsense. I think Kanya told him that night that she understood everything about him, and that their relationship was over. After that, Rogovic decided to show what kind of a man he was. The state prosecution asked that Rogovic be sentenced to 12 years in prison. The Bendorevs insisted on the maximum possible sentence of 15 years in prison. Plus the parents sued for 10 million rubles, so that Vlad definitely could not pay them back and get out early on parole. The court eventually sentenced the guy to 10 years in a maximum security penal colony, plus obliged him to pay the relatives of the deceased a little over 600,000 rubles. This decision stood up on appeal. 7 years have passed since then. There is a snow-white sculpture on Anna Bendarev's grave. A young, beautiful girl surrounded by angels and with an inscription, "I will always be with you." Anna's friends continue to communicate with her family. But as time passes, the conversations gradually become less frequent. The girls already have their own families, children, and worries. It seems like an eternity has passed since the tragedy. But on Anya's birthday, they all still write congratulations on her page in social networks. This has become a tradition. The pain of her parents has not subsided. They periodically dream about their daughter. True, more often they dream of the big-eyed, giggly little girl she once was. Vlad Rogovic is serving his sentence in a high-security penal colony in Novokubissk. Already on trial, his friends, having heard exactly what happened between him and Anna, have stopped communicating with Vlad. What awaits him in freedom? Remorse, ghosts of the past, retribution. That will become clear much later. His prison term ends in the year 2025. See you on the Defunct City soon.